Hello and happy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever day you're watching this. Either way, I hope you're having a good one. When you mention the name of the filmmaker Umberto Lenzi, then the first thought that pop up in your brain might be Cannibal Ferox or a bunch of other Italian horror movies of various quality. In my opinion, his best work is to be found in his crime movies, and we are about to explore one of the absolute greats. I am Torstein from CinemaTerror, and this is the 1974 film Almost Human. Almost Human kicks things off right from the start, as the opening credits cannot even get the piece to run over the screen before we are put directly into a bank robbery, where we meet the anti-hero of the film, Giulio Sacchi. He is supposed to stay outside with the car, keep cool until the robbers are done with their business, and then drive them away. But a random police officer distracts him, ending with Sacchi losing his cool and shooting the officer down. This botches the robbery, making Sacchi fall out of good terms with his crew. Unchained to now act on his own, Sacchi starts to construct his own plan on how to make a big, life-changing score, and together with his two new partners in crime, Vittorio and Carmine, Sacchi sets off a violent rampage through the city of Milan by kidnapping the daughter of a rich businessman and leaving bodies laying in pools of blood all over town. The only one who might be able to stop them is police detective Walter Grandi, but in order to get his hands on Sacchi and his crew, Detective Grandi might have to get his own hands dirty and bloody.
I've always been alone ever since I was a baby. Nobody ever loved me. Only you ever loved me. Inspector, why are you asking me this? Don't you know when a poor guy's suffering? My God, why are you giving me the third degree?
Because I believe that she was pushed into the lake.
Almost Human is categorized together with other crime films in what is called poliziotecci, one of Italy's most popular genres during the 1970s, together with the equally brutal thrillers called giallis. Umberto Lenzi did work in both genres before he transitioned into mostly making horror movies in the 1980s, and I think Lenzi's style lends itself perfectly for the crime genre. At his best, he does not waste any time, always delivers on the more extreme fronts of violence or depravity, and he has an eye for rawness, which I think also shows up in his contribution to another popular and violent genre of Italian cinema, the cannibal movies. Lenzi gets to take full advantage of his talents on Almost Human, taking inspiration from French film noirs, working from a great script by Ernesto Gastaldi, having the advantage of Maestro Ennio Morricone delivering a brilliant score, and being fortunate to have gathered a cast consisting of some of the most prominent performers working in Italy during the flourishing 1970s. Almost Human has no pause button. Every single scene seems to have some importance, making the entire experience feel more action-packed than what it really is. There isn't that much gunplay or fist being used as in many other crime movies, but when the violence pops up, it pops up in full Lenzi fashion, meaning that it is nasty, vicious, and raw. Other movies, including some of Lenzi's own, might have more on-screen violence and blood, but in Almost Human you feel it more than you see it. Kinda like what Tobe Hooper so brilliantly was able to achieve with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if that makes sense.
Little girl, I have been sent by the angel Gabriel. Come to safeguard your virginity.
No, Johnny, don't put that to my Johnny!
The terrorizing feeling is also helped by the awfully mean-spirited Giulio Sacchi. This guy takes being a slimeball to another level, being fueled by pure sadism and having no regards for anyone else. He does not want to contribute anything to his community. If he sees a person have something he wants, then he simply takes it, and he takes great pleasure whenever he can put fear into the souls of others. The evil in him is more than enough to make him worthy of being a great antagonist in a crime thriller, but that's not all he has to offer. He has enough knowledge and intelligence to put a plan like this in motion. He is manipulative enough to charm a woman named Iona, played by the Swedish actress Anita Strindberg, into believing they were in a real relationship, even though she is clearly just there for convenience and economical support for him. In a way, it feels like Giulio Sacchi is representing everything wrong with society, and what evil can be birthed out of its not-so-perfect system structure. Which also gives the ending a bit more of a sadder meaning. Without giving it away, I think the location that the final scene ends on is quite telling. And none of this would of course be possible without a great performance, as the movie does stand or fall on how well the Sacchi character is received, and a great performance we got from the brilliant Tomas Milian. While he certainly has his fans, I do believe that Milian is one of the most underrated actors in cinema history. I fully believe that if he worked in America during the 70s, and was lucky enough to be cast against some of the most legendary actors in cinema, like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, then Milian could still be able to be a scene stealer. As an example, I could easily imagine him as a smaller, but memorable supporting cast member in one of the Godfather movies.
No, don't write that because Daddy'll think we're not nice. If not, they're gonna put my head someplace interesting, like the stove. Or the bowl of the toilet.
Milian is at his most unhinged in Almost Human. He lets loose of all of his inner demons, and he makes every single scene interesting just by letting us observe his expressions and emotions. From what I understand, Milian drank a lot of vodka during the shoot to get into the mindset of his character, and also to get this soulless, dead-tired look that you can get after a couple of alcohol-filled rough nights in a row. Milian has said years later that he is proud of Almost Human, and considers it to be one of his best performances. And I happily agree. I cannot praise his work enough, and if his portrayal of Giulio Sacchi was the only positive element that Almost Human had to offer, then I would still end up giving this film a recommendation. Since Milian is so strong, loud and fragrant as Sacchi, there was not that much running time left to be spent on the actual protagonist. I think this was handled smartly by casting Henry Silva as the detective. He has the most ice-cold stone face you can ever find. He does not mess around and will go to any lengths to get justice, and Silva acts in a way where you can feel that he is boiling inside, while he still keeps his internal turmoil disguised from his outer facade. Silva works perfectly as the counterpart to Milian, both as opposite characters in the story, but also if you want to sit and think about what they each represent, as there are plenty of political themes to be found in nearly all Italian crime thrillers from this period, and Almost Human is no exception.
No, really. Lend me the car, baby. And I promise you I'll always keep you filled... Well, I can't say love, but I'll keep you filled with me for the rest of your life, I swear.
Even less exploration is done with the supporting characters, as it is for the most part all about Sacchi. Genre favorite Leigh Lovelock shows up as Sacchi's partner Carmine, and he is teased as maybe being the one that has some sort of moral compass amongst this trio of deviants, but there is of course no room for hope in this world, so of course it is not something that gets paid off. While it might come off as sloppy writing the first time around, I appreciate smaller stuff like that more and more on repeated viewings, and I've come around to believe that it is intentionally written this way. The same can also be said about the fate of the kidnapped rich daughter Mary Lou, played by the lovely Laura Belli. You would expect some time to be spent on her to make us care for her, as she is being kept captive by Sacchi and his gang for a long period of time. But no. Lenzi has no time for any common, decent human being. That stuff has no place in Almost Human. Let's also talk about the title for a moment, as it is kind of annoying that Almost Human is the English title that has stuck with this film over the years. The original Italian title is the more suitable Milano Odia, La Polizia Non Può Sparare. A direct translation of that would result in something like Milan hates, the police cannot shoot, which is not perfect, but still better than Almost Human. Keep the Milan hates part and work on the rest and you would have gold. Instead, the film was retitled to Almost Human after a distributor picked it up for a home video release in the North American market. Why did they go with Almost Human, you might ask, and not something more crime suitable like The Death Dealer or The Executioner, which it had been released under in other countries? Well, the reason is simple and makes sense from a certain perspective. They simply wanted to pull a fast one on horror fans by giving the film a creature feature-like title of Almost Human and cut together a trailer that made it look like a horror film and not an Italian thriller.
But you can't ask me to.
Sexual discrimination is a nay-nay. Equal opportunities for all. Now get to work.
Almost Human is an exhilarating film that not only stands out from the Italian Poliziotteschi and can rival many of the best crime thrillers produced outside of Italy as well. It can also serve as a great introduction to the Italian crime genre, as it has all of the elements, the shady street characters, no-nonsense police detectives, beautiful women, and all the action and violence you can desire. It is not a perfect movie by any means. Some of the subtext can be hard to spot and there is some shoddy editing being applied, but the acting, intensity, and brutal nature makes it a standout of its own genre. In my mind, there is no doubt that Almost Human is the best film from Umberto Lenzi, a filmmaker that was more skillful than what many give him credit for. Almost Human gets a strong recommendation and deserves the wonderful score of 4.5 out of 5. So that was my thoughts on Almost Human. Have you seen this one, and do you agree that this is Lenzi's best work? And is the crime genre where he shined the most? Let me and others know in the comment section below. I haven't done videos on a lot of Italian crime films yet, so if you have some recommendations, then I'm all ears, or eyes I guess. I do have one that I want to recommend if you enjoyed this video, and that is another video of mine, this one on Massimo Dallamano's What Have They Done to Your Daughters. That one feels like a mix of Poliziotteschi and gialli, so check it out. Hope you enjoyed this one, leave a like if you do, and I also hope that I will see you again soon for more movie reviews here on CinemaTerror. Thank you!